Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to today's maths lesson. In this lesson, we are going to be learning how to measure different lengths. For this lesson, you will be able to identify the key vocabulary used to measure lengths. We will review the rules of measurement and how to measure different objects. For this lesson, we will need the words tall, short, long, measure, length, and units. Okay, so let's begin. We're going to measure the length and the height, but we're going to use non-standard measurements. Okay, so we're going to measure the height of objects using small objects as our unit of measurements. So what do we mean by non-standard units? It means we can measure something using anything that we find. So we can measure something using books, we can measure something using our hands, anything that you can find. So here are some examples of non-standard units. We can use our feet, we can use our hands, we can use blocks, we can use paper clips, we can even use pencils. Okay, now there are some rules that we have to follow. Okay, so to make sure that we get the correct measurement, we have to follow some rules. Okay, now let me show you. The rule number one, when the length unit we choose must be the same and it must not be a mixture. So we can't use hands and feet or feet and hands. We have to use only hands or only feet. Okay, choose one thing only. Okay. The next thing is it has to be the same size. Okay, so when we can't use a big foot and a small foot and your mom's foot and your foot. No, it has to be only your foot or only your mom's foot. Okay, or maybe even your dad's foot, but only one size foot. Okay, we have to use the same size. And then lastly, when we're measuring, we cannot leave a space between each one. We have to put them one after the other so we can measure it accurately, okay, and we can get the closest possible answer. Now, let's measure some objects using different length units. Okay, you can guess what might be the answer. Right, you can guess what might be the answer if you can. Okay, now and you can try this as well when we're done with the lesson. So, how many feet long is the bathtub? Let's see. Okay, let's see. How many feet long? One. Okay, there we go. One, two, three, four. Okay, so the bathtub is about 4 feet long. Okay, so we say the bathtub is about 4 feet long because we've counted 4 feet. And as you can see, we've followed all the rules. Now, let's see, how many hands long do you think the bathtub is? Do you think this will be more than the feet? And why do you think so? I think we will be using more hands than the feet because our hands are smaller than the feet. But let's check. Okay, let's see how many hands does it take to fit. Okay, let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It takes 7 hands to measure the bathtub. So the bathtub is 7 hands long. Now, can you remember how long was it? How many feet long was it? It was 4 feet long. So we can see that the hands are smaller measure unit, okay? Because it took us more hands to measure the bathtub. Let's try another one using another length measuring unit. So here we're going to use blocks. How many blocks or how many cubes tall is the door? Let's try. Okay, one. Okay, there we go. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so the door is 10 cubes long. Okay, this door is about 10 cubes long. Now let's try using something else. Do you think it will be more pencils or less pencils long? Okay, I think it will be Less pencils because the pencils are longer than the cubes. But let us see. One pencil, two pencils. Okay, so the door is only two pencils long because the pencil is larger than the cube. So that is how we can use the measurements to measuring units to measure the same thing. Now here is this boy. Okay, his name is Marvin. Now we want to measure how tall is Marvin using these jars. So you see, we can use anything we want to, but we have to use the same thing. So let's see how many jars tall is Marvin. One. Okay, let's count. One, two, three, four, five. Okay, so we can see that Marvin is 5 jars tall. Now, as you can see, we followed all the rules. We used the same object, we used the same size, and we left no spaces between them. So we are doing amazing. Okay, now let's move on. So Marvin is about 5 jars tall. Now let's see using tins how tall is Marvin. Okay, do you think it will be more or less than the jars? I think it would be more than the jars, but let us check. Okay, so we got one. Okay, let's go. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so we've used 7 tin cans to measure Marvin. So Marvin is 7 tin cans tall. So which one was more, the tin cans or the jars? If you've guessed the jars, well done. The tin cans, well done. Because yes, we used 7 tin cans, but we only used 5 jars. So as you can see, you can use anything to um, measure anything. Why don't you have a go and measure something around your house? Try measuring your bed using your body. So, how many body longs of yours is your bed? Give it a go. Assalamu alaikum. See you tomorrow.